sound looks like this is really. All right, we're jumping right in. And out of the bat here. We're looking into displayio stuff. Oh. Second, actually. Okay. I'm looking into the hidden tile grids issue display. That's kind of the base thread of what we're looking into. We're off the beaten path of that a little ways, like where we're actually at, right where I'm going to jump in. But the goal here is figuring out and then ultimately fixing why hidden tile grids take extra time when you refresh the display. So if you have a tile grid that's hidden, or if you have a bunch of tile grids that are hidden, is really when this is a problem. It takes longer to refresh the display. You can't refresh the display as many times per second compared to if those same tile grids were visible. So like, that's what we're trying to ultimately fix. Where we are at right now, we're kind of in trouble because I was trying to print out some stuff about I was trying to print some stuff out to better understand what's going on, and I have found that printing stuff out is sometimes causing the device to just get locked, like frozen, as far as I can tell. So there's like things we can't print out, but then like the thing is, if we comment out some other prints, and then we're kind of allowed to print those things that just a second ago locked up the device. So it's not as simple as just printing this thing locks up the device. Like printing multiple things together locks up the device, and like some printing the first thing locks up the device. I don't know. The last time I touched it, I got to the point where it was getting all locked up and weird, and I just needed to put it down for the time being. We need to be finding like finish refresh, I think. Is that this big function fill area? Need to be finding out of here. Oh, right. I'm on the wrong branch. Most. It's a whole different set of stuff. Okay. Yeah, finish refresh. So I'm trying to understand, like, really the main thing I'm trying to do right now is understand what previous area and current area are. What are they doing? What are they holding? When do they update? Everything I can about them. As far as I can tell, they are an area, which I think is basically an object that can store 2 points. x1, y1, x2, y2. So 2 points representing the opposite corners of a rectangle. I think that's the case, but I'm not 100% sure. My guess is, like, current area is supposed to be the rectangle that we're in right now, and then previous area would be the rectangle we were in last frame, which lots of times those would be the same thing. Sometimes they would be different because the user would have changed the X or Y or the width or height or something, and that would have caused the rectangle that it occupies to change. This is kind of my baseline guess, but I don't necessarily think it's true. based on some of the behavior I've seen. So I'm trying to figure it out in the code. What is the version? So the version we have right now is supposed to be printing inside finish refresh the CX1, the CY1, which is current area X1, current area Y1. That's what this is trying to do, but it does crash, I do believe, or freeze. It succeeds sometimes. So just a second ago, I connected my device. TO was already running, so TO connected to it. We printed out this thing, which came from a different part of the core that I added a print statement. We printed out a bunch of these. So like this was successful many, many times. This is while I'm pretty sure like the REPL must have been showing the terminal. Like you can see we haven't actually gone on to displayio yet. Like we're still showing the terminal. So like these things all succeed. Succeed. Eventually we are like cut off in the middle. We disconnected and we have never come back yet. So this device is still plugged in via USB. But the computer no longer sees it. As far as I can tell, it's like it's frozen. One thing I guess we could try to do is like tease out whether or not it is actually frozen. Is it connected as this? No. Okay, so yeah, it's not connected as mass storage either. So once we get to here, you know, you can't control C obviously because TO's not connected. I mean, once you get to here, basically the only thing you can do is go back to bootloader. So yeah, we're kind of stuck here. Okay, that was not ideal. All right, well, I think no VOD for today. Like, yeah, right now we basically have to go back to bootloader. Can't do anything else. Nothing else is interacting. One thing that would be interesting is in our CodePy, what if we were blinking the LED wherever it's at? Would it still be blinking? Like, is the CPU still running right now or not? That would be one thing that would be interesting to know. We can't really tell because normally the way we would tell is by talking to it through the computer, but it's not connecting to the computer. As far as the computer is concerned, it's not there. So we can get to bootloader. We can load a new version that does not have that print statement. Or actually, I think, so like you can see there's a bunch of these here. It's just kind of where I left off. I think, well, let me duplicate it, I guess. I'm pretty sure if we don't do the Y value, if we only do the X value, I think this one succeeds. I think this one succeeds. And I think I could change it to Y1 and it would succeed, but when I do them both, it fails. And it fails just kind of like disconnects and disappears. Which made it, that's kind of where I left off. And so like ultimately I was just trying to print out current area and previous area to learn about them, learn what they do, learn what they are. Just like I was saying before, like I don't understand what they're currently doing. Because there is a part of the logic where it's referencing them that I am interested in and not like this first draw. In fact, we're right here. First draw is like first draw equals previous area x1 equals previous area x2. So if previous area x1 and previous area x2 are the same number, that means that first draw is going to be true, which means that not first draw will be false, which means we'll go in here and first draw or moved, so first draw will be true. This will happen instead of this. Then in here, if not first draw, then it will be updating previous area x2 to be equal to previous area to x1. I don't get that though. It conceptually, I don't get what those represent and why we would want to be setting x1 to x2. It's it makes it seem like they're consecutive on the display, I guess. Yeah, so this version runs. This version happily made it all the way through all the way through? Not quite all the way through yet. No, it's stuck. No, it's still going. Okay. It does spam a lot. This is one of the downsides of this build, is it printing inside finish refresh, which gets called a lot when auto refresh is on, which is true when it's showing the serial, so it spams a lot. I think we're just at the end of it here. Yeah, I think we made it to the end. It has while true, so it's not actually ending, but all this stuff succeeded. So we printed out CX1 all these times, yeah, CX1 all these times. We're successful. We made it to the end here. We did not lock up. We did not crash. Nothing went wrong. When all we do is differently is the line down where we were printing Y1 also. So does, but it succeeds sometimes. So it's like, it's not like Y doesn't exist, because back when we were running that, succeeded sometimes. Auto refresh. Back when we were running it, like, this value did exist. Not like it just wasn't there, but then it just suddenly, like, locks up. So, okay, going forwards, I guess let's not worry too much about back. Let's say CY. What if we could print CY? Does it lock up? Partially, I'm wondering if we are just breaking it, like, not by virtue of what we're printing, but more so by virtue of how much we're printing. Maybe we're slowing it down too much, right? Like, by printing inside finish refresh, that means it's trying to print, like, while it's refreshing the display. Like, maybe we're messing it up by doing that? I don't really know. I was just trying to print these values here to better understand them when I ran into stuff started happening. Okay. So yeah, this one succeeds. Everything succeeded. Right now it has this weird stuff, which does happen sometimes, but that's unrelated to anything else. That would go away if we would refresh again, probably. These values are always 0. So I believe all of these after this is when we are refreshing the actual lines. I think maybe all of this before it might have been still when it was on serial. So we successfully print all these Y values. So what we learned is, like, we're allowed to print the Y value here. That's fine. We're allowed to print the X value. That's fine. We cannot print them both. Cannot print them both, or else the device locks up. Okay. It succeeded that time. So I wish I could know what tile grid this was. I thought this one was failing, and it doesn't seem like it is, but we could find another one that was failing. But one of the things I was trying to do was know what tile grid it is. Because I have 3 tile grids right now, because I have 3 lines. I wish this would stop disconnecting. We have 3 lines, which means we have 3 tile grids. We are printing that thing inside of the refresh for each tile grid. Do we think current area is like literally the X? So I think we're moving more than once. Let's stop moving. So yeah, we're going further left by 70, then refresh, then wait 3 seconds, then go. I said left, but I meant right. Further right by 70, wait 3 seconds, and then back left by 20. Let's turn those off. So let's just render those once and not move them. Should be these, which are 80, 40, 0. So those do maybe match up. Haven't necessarily save. Control this thing and breaks the. Yeah. So they're in reverse order. If current if this one actually is this one, then that means they're in reverse order when it's looping through them here. Where did we get to from? See, that's where. I don't actually remember where we came from. Group finish refresh. So ultimately, I believe we started in display. So display group finish refresh. Okay, yeah, we're looping. Okay, yeah. Okay, starts at the back. Starts at the bottom. That's why the first one comes last or whatever. Okay, so we know which one is which, probably. So, and it looks like current area represents the current rectangle. So far, looking like our assumptions are correct. Can we get, so like, does y2, does 2 actually exist here? All right, hold on though. Let's duplicate this. Let's comment that. That way we could go back to it easily if it's broken. See, that's the thing. That frozen state, and we're kind of like stuck. Okay, let's make 2 more of these. More of these. All right, does that work? Can we print all of those? Wrong terminal. Had the chat hidden for a second, sorry. Good evening, back to diagonal lines. Really struggles with multiple diagonals, out of bounds issue. Good thought. I think it's not, but because mine should be on the display, and it should be able to be more graceful. It's the thing, like when it does get frozen, it's like frozen hard. I don't normally see it in that state. Been talking too much today. If I start to sound hoarse, I apologize, but I was talking for a while on a call for work, and I don't exercise my voice that much, turns out. So this did succeed. That's good. Where did we print? No. Oh, I have not run it. I built it. I did not run it. Let's go to bootloader mode. Let's copy that to there. No worries. Oh, how's it going? Gordy G. Smoke. I assume you mean New York, probably. I am not, for what's worth, I'm not based in New York, but yeah, it's, from what I understand, pretty bad up there. It's a couple of days. It's no good. But that is also not why my throat sounds like that. Because I'm not there. Just because I was talking too much earlier today. Not talking too much. I was talking a lot, and I don't exercise my voice enough. Okay, I think we back to the frozen state now. See? Yeah, see, so the thing is, it came back to life. It's not just altogether broken, right? It connected. It came back to life. This was during the, I think, while the serial was showing, which makes sense because the serial is still showing. It's like stuck in that state now. We succeeded a bunch of times. What happened here? This might be a clue. This one's different. Maybe just maybe the communications got cut. Maybe the communications got interrupted. Because it basically took a full line and stuck it in after the comma instead of what should have been, well, after the colon, I mean here. Should have been a number, then a comma and another set, then a close. But instead it was like a whole line. Interesting. But it succeeded a couple of times, and then it disconnected, and it's gone. We can't, it's not connected here, so no Control-C. Not connected as CircuitPy. So that one succeeds, but not very long. Not indefinitely, and not very long. But okay, one step at a time. Step at a time. What if we duplicate this, turn this off, and we turn this on, and we make this 2? It's 2. We were able to print x1, y1, and that succeeded. Let's try printing 2. That crashed it when we were printing them both. Well, locked it up, really. It's not crashed, but from Canada, we have 3 sources of smoke. West, east, yikes. That's no good. Yeah. Every now and then I ramp it up. Like if I haven't taught courses for a while, maybe, what is it? It's probably been about a year, I think, since the last time I taught. But that's usually when I end up ramping my voice up. Unfortunately, I don't like train necessarily for it. So usually how it goes is the first night of classes, I like blast through it and get hoarse, and then it's me good enough to go through the rest of the several weeks, usually 6 or 8 weeks, a couple hours a night, a couple hours every other night. Let's try to copy the. Try to keep drinking some water too. Yeah, that's no good. You get some air filtration going on somehow if you can. Cannot copy. Yeah, I just did it too early. Yeah, there we go. Now it's going. I think I get it. You're saying as if you sent us the smoke. You're in Canada and you sent it down to us. I think I can up. No hard faults. No with hangs. It's hard to start. Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering. Like, I wonder if it's printing anything on the debug pin. That would be one thing we could try. But yeah, it's not like it doesn't crash. No exception. No hard fault. Just disconnect and gone. Okay, so this one did fail again. And I mean, I don't know if we can trust it, like, if it's a red herring or if it's actually, like, means something, but it did fail at the same place where it was looking wonky before, right? Didn't do the same thing. Of course, here it failed in a different spot before the. That's just when it disconnected. I don't know. That is interesting. Here it failed right after CX2, and then actually it looks like the same place we failed here. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like we're not allowed to print X2 sometimes. It's like it goes bad eventually or something. I don't know. It's weird. What if we did it by itself? Oh, it's not. Let's see. Place could be some. I don't think so. I don't know. I can't think of a reason why the print just in and of itself would be breaking it. Um, Especially since it does succeed several times, just like eventually it. Give it the wrong board? Maybe I think I gave it. I think I. Yeah, okay, I deleted the T at the end there. I don't think the print, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. To the best of my knowledge, no. But kind of it seems like it, huh? Kind of the state we're in is like, we only consider the things I'm aware of, then it wouldn't do this. But the thing is that it is doing this. And so definitely there is some portion of it that I am not aware of. I do think I have like my attempt at a solution, which basically boils down to kind of like changing the logic or really adding additional logic instead of first draw or in addition to first draw. It also has a thing called like did render or something. I forgot exactly what I called it. But basically we have a Boolean and we set it true after we render the first time, and we set it false whenever a change is made that causes it to need to re-render. And then I'm pretty sure that makes it so that we don't spend time rendering hidden things, which is the actual root of our issue, in spite of this other weirdness that we're seeing. So this time it succeeded. It ran all the way, no problems, and it printed out the x2 every single time, no issues. So when we try to print x2 and y2, we lock up. But when we print x1 and y1, we didn't lock up. And when we print x2 by itself, we didn't lock up. I almost think I'm starting to think it's not that the print is breaking it necessarily, but maybe the time. I'm wondering if like the time that it spends printing is breaking it somehow. But I also don't know how to troubleshoot if I'm not allowed to print things. Or printing things can lead to it being in this weird, disconnected, broken, frozen state. So that succeeded. All three, no problem. So we can print x2, we can print y2 by themselves. We try to print them both, and we get locked up. Or wait, did we do that? Well, we did. Did we do that? When we tried to print them with x1 and y1, though, did we ever try just x2 and y2? Blocking print. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing. And I don't know if there's a way to do that. This is the only way I know how to print stuff. Goes back to, oh wait, sorry, maybe it's y2. I think that was from before. We did print y2. Yeah, I think that was probably from before. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat a little bit. Goes back to slowing. You meant showing, maybe goes back to slowing when things are invisible, but faster with visible. Oh no, you didn't mean slowing. Yeah. Remember you saying that seemed backwards. Yeah, that's definitely still the same case. That's what we're trying to fix, is that when they are invisible, it's slower. It takes longer to render. Yeah, that was like a week ago. Yep, that's what same thing I'm working on. Really, the only progress I've had is I was trying to print this stuff out and I ran into this issue. I did that initially off stream, and then now I'm back working on it on stream, but I did not make that much progress. I guess that's not true though. I did the other part that I did that was not on stream is the kind of like proposed solution. So I do think I committed it. I think it's in the PR, but I don't think I had the stream on when I did it. I don't actually remember for sure, truthfully. The proposed solution that basically added a different Boolean to try to solve the problem. I don't know for certain if it does solve the problem is the other thing. Like, it doesn't crash. It doesn't do this weird locking up thing. I think it should solve the problem, but I have not actually tested it on the original test case, the proposed fix. I started like trying to understand this more so than strictly just fix it. And that's when I ran into this. So we're fine here. We can print C2, X2, Y2. So this is where I get to thinking it's an amount of stuff problem. That it's not the specific stuff we're printing, but it's the amount of stuff. Because when we print a single point, either x1, y1, or x2, y2, it works. But when we try to print 2 points, both x, ones and twos, that one does not work. That one crashes or locks up. Okay, I mean, I think we can work within those constraints. Only print 1 point at a time from here. Can we, so one question I had, I think the answer is no. This is a wishful question. I'm going to ask it as though it's a question, but I think I know the answer, but I wish the answer is yes. Can we access current area or previous area from the Python side? So one idea I had was, what if we could access these things from the Python side? Then we could be printing inside of our CodePy file rather than inside the core during the refresh, just like randomly shoved in there. Because I could put in my code here, like print, line 1 dot previous area, whatever. That existed. Doesn't. So we could try to add it, then we could try to use it. Seems like it will be a lot of work to add. I can't be positive that we will succeed. We have the problem that I think area as a concept is not exposed on the Python side at all. So I think this will not work, honestly. I think we cannot very easily make these available on the Python side because these are displayio areas, which is not even exist Python like. Area overlap. The current Y. Update current X. Get, previous area. Yeah. So it's a displayio area T. This is so weird. So we have this condition again. This is the same condition for first draw. This was the same thing. It said if these two things were equal, then first draw was true. So get previous area. If first draw is true, then return false. area. Weird. I don't know how to find, like, is there a definition of this class? It's even, actually, maybe it's not technical. I'm not sure. It's not. Have to do with overlapping diagonals, same as overlapping rects. I don't think it's the overlapping. I don't know. I can't rule it out because obviously there's a lot about the situation I don't understand, but I don't think that it's a problem with them overlapping. Yeah, I don't think it's a problem with them overlapping because like they can exist and overlap and be seen when we don't try to print the wrong stuff. So like, if the overlap was going to break it, I would expect it to break it no matter what we're printing. If you mean like the overlap with regards to like being the culprit of what's making it take longer or something when it's refreshing, it's worth testing, but I also don't think the overlap matters there. I think really what matters there is the fact that it's taken time to consider those things at all, basically, is the error. Like, anything that's hidden, it should not spend any time on during refreshing, as far as I can understand. Like, I can't think of a situation where it needs to spend time other than if you count the fact that you need to like erase the pixels when you make it hidden. Like, you have a visible thing, you make your thing hidden. On the next render frame, you need to like erase, you need to take away those pixels that was the thing. And then anytime after that, you should not spend time during refresh on that object. Anytime after you've hidden it and as long as you don't unhide it, obviously, then it should always take 0 time after you've done the one time update of making it, like actually taking it away. But in reality, it doesn't behave that way today. In reality, it does, like every other refresh, it spends time on objects that are hidden. If that makes any sense, I don't know, but that's the most that I know kind of about the original problem so far. And so I think those objects, whether or not they overlap, it will still take time on them. It may be the case that overlapping things might take additional time. I don't know. That could be the case. But the truth is, like, in my mind, it's a takes time versus doesn't take time. And whether we could make it faster or slower based on overlapping or not, I think doesn't matter because ultimately it just should be 0 if it is hidden after it is updated once. None of these are like a declaration of what this thing is. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to pass this to Python land, really, so. I don't know how to find declarations. There's a lot of things found. Oh, it has end here. Very long list. I don't even think I made it to the bottom of it either. Yeah. Last week I did have them fully on top of each other. I've moved them now more so just to be able to tell them apart. I was trying to figure out which one was first, second, third while it was refreshing. This is not getting me anywhere. I can't find the definition of this. I don't know the right place to look. But I don't think we can send it to Python land, so So, I mean, I think the idea about current area is right. I think current area is supposed to represent, it's supposed to represent, you know, the box that we are currently occupying. And so, but the next question really is like, what is previous area supposed to represent? So also Scott did mention something on the, let's go read what Scott said again. Truthfully, I don't quite understand it. I'll read it again and see if it makes any more sense this time. I said, what does previous area refer to? And then I gave my guess. Is it the rectangle of space we occupied previous render frame? Because I think that's the confusion. I suspect that it is the area we refreshed last time. I think it sounds like the same thing I was asking here, when it should be all pixels we produced last frame for a removal. Should be all pixels we produced last frame for a removal. So, I mean, if we're trying to hide it, we want to know all the pixels we drew so that we can go back and undraw them, or, you know, find out what's below them and draw that instead. This does, okay, I'm glad I came back to read it again. It makes a little bit more sense this time. I don't think I fully grok still, but so this makes it seem like previous area in some parts of the code is expected to be not a rectangle like x1, y1, x2, y2, not that, but instead a list of pixels. So 0 to many x, y. And then would current area be similarly the list of pixels that we currently occupy instead of the rectangle? See, that's what I don't know though, because I thought that this displayio area T, I'm pretty sure this is always a rectangle, not a list. Like, I'm gonna have to get a new battery for my mouse. Wow, this one is a huge pain to change. This one is even declaring a full one. Interesting, it hasn't. This one's always doing 4. Yeah, I think that area is always a rectangle, always 2 points, and then it seems like there's a 5th thing, but I don't know what the 5th thing being sometimes. Go look at this one. What? It's not loading files now. Okay. This one is another place where it's making it as 4 things, 2 points. I think this is always 2 points. And so then I will say that part does not really reconcile with this bit. It should be all pixels we produced last frame Unless that means, I guess, the rectangle containing all pixels that we produced last frame, in which case it could match up. But is that not, that is this. The rectangle that we occupied last time, that's this. Is what he says. He suspects it is that, but should be this. Any different types? Possible polygon? I mean, I think it's a rectangle. I think it's 2 points always, which represent the opposite 2 points of the rectangle. As far as I can tell, that's what it is. All the usages I'm finding, that's what it looks like to me. Like, it represents 2 points, and my assumption is those 2 points are top left and bottom right of a rectangle. So essentially, those 2 points give you the height and width of that rectangle, as well as X and Y positionally, within your grid. I don't think that it can represent something other than a rectangle. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think it can. So like a pentagon or a hexagon, or I don't think it can do any of those, to the best of my knowledge again. Area T. Oh. Area type? Yeah, I guess T is probably typed there. I don't know for sure, but seems like a good guess to me. Area T, yeah. Okay. So, okay. So what I want to do is understand the relationship between current area and previous area better. And unfortunately, the easiest way to do that is print both of them side by side and then look at them, and then they're easy to compare because they're side by side. We can't print that much, though. I can't print more than this, otherwise we get locked up. We can only print 1 point. But we can run it multiple times, and each time we can print a different 1 point. So the last time that I ran it, it was printing x2 and y2. Yeah. Which is the bottom right corner, which matches up pretty well. Basically, the bottom right corner of the rectangle that occupies this line. That's basically at the end of the line here, the end of the line here, the end of the line here. Those are the 3 points that got printed. And those were current area, which makes sense because that is where they are at. That's where they were at. That is the current area. Okay, let's go back to x1 just to make sure that those are what I think they are, which is the hypothesis. Those are, I think those are the top left. So it will be, the third one is first because they're in reverse order. So it will be whatever this is, like something, and then y will be 0. And then, I think it's 80. So it'll be 80, 0, 40, 0, and then 0, 0. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's what that will be. Okay, we're going to print it, though, to confirm, because, like, boy, I just don't know, right? There's so many things going on that I don't know. Okay. We could still figure out all the same stuff. It'd be nice to be able to print it all at once. But we can do it even if not. We can do it. Because we can just run it, change, right? Run the same thing again, and like we know which one printed in which order. Work. Okay. Indeed, 80, 0, 40, 0, 0, 0. Perfect. Exact. On the money. That's what I guess. So current area does represent the rectangle currently occupy with our tile grid. The case of our lines is the rectangle, obviously, that contains the lines. What is previous area? And in this case, we have not moved the lines ever. So my assumption, what is my assumption? My assumption is that previous area will be, just gonna copy these actually. I think my assumption is that previous area will be either the same, the exact same, or like a null type thing, like all zeros or something like that. Those are my two guesses. Because like previous area implies that it's where we were last frame, but the thing is we did not exist last frame. We just came into existence, so I don't know. About to find out together though. Nothing up there for you, buddy. Yes. That box. Very good job. Okay. Oh, I hid the chats again. Also do not have the Discord chat, so I don't know. So I apologize. I can't see your chats. Twitch and YouTube are the place to be for me to be able to see them right now. Can I copy? Okay, did it too soon, I guess. Okay. Option 2, the null-ish one. The zeros, in this case, it was not actually zeros, it was -1, but that's what the answer was. But what if we change the position? I think if we change the position once and refresh again, then previous area will be the old current area. So we refresh once, let's sleep, and change the location, and refresh again. Have auto refresh, auto reload off. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So far, so good. So far, exactly what I'm thinking. It was like null-ish here. We moved it, and then it became the old current area. Which seems fine to me. That makes total sense. What if, though, what if we don't move it? What if we turn this back off? What if we don't move it, but do refresh again? We just refresh one more time. Then I think it will... I think the second time that we refresh, it will be current area. Even though we have not moved it, I think it will become current area, I guess, by virtue of refreshing. Yes. Okay. Okay. I think I have an understanding of what those are conceptually. But the next bit of the puzzle, I do not understand this logic. Previous area x1 equals to previous area x2. So the x of the top left in the previous frame, was it equal to the x in the bottom right in the last frame? Which to me, that question, the answer to that question tells you not whether this is the first draw or not. The answer to that question tells you if the object had any width last frame. If those two values are equal, then the width of the object was 0 last frame. But that does not really tell you whether you drew it last time or whether it's already been rendered or anything like that. Okay, what if we refresh a third time? Does it change or does it stay the same here? Like we're making progress slowly but surely. I'm starting to understand a little bit more each time. Mark the previous area well. Yeah. So far. So far it seems. Okay, they stay the same. So if we don't move and we just refresh, they stay the same. Is that true forever? We refresh 10 times, does it stay the same? 10 times? Yep. Okay. Okay. What about current area? Current area or x2? Do we want to look at x2? Let's look at x2. Let's look at x2. I think we have not even done that yet, so let's do that. That way we're at least getting the full picture. Maybe this one's y2, not just x2. Point 2. Build. So I want to go to bootloader, but I also don't want to make many things at once, like back to this connecting to it while it's building, while it's streaming, while it's playing a video, while it's piping, while it's having a bunch of browsers open. Back to the camera. I'm gonna refill my water. Okay. Yeah. Always the same. Bottom right, always the same. Okay. What about current? About the for whole thing here. I mean, I think obviously I got this figured out. Bottom right, and where won't change for a. So yeah, but they're not hidden yet. We will want to rerun this with them hidden. But the thing is, I think my code is actually bottom right and same every time. Perfect. So we would want to hide them, but I think it says if not first draw, which means we had width last time. Had a width greater than 0 last frame. That's not true. And if we are hidden, then we set this area x2 to equal to previous area x1. See that? I don't get that at all. That makes no sense to me. It's like swapping. It's like well, it's not even swapping because previous area x1 is still the same value. So now previous area x1 is the same, but previous area x2 is this value. So so then they are the same, which means next time around this is true. But why do you want this? What does that achieve, though? I don't get where. I don't get that. I don't understand what that's doing. Why? I mean, it's almost like we're trying to like continue on down the chain or something. Not quite get it. Like, why would we ever want to replace x2? So the x of the bottom right, we replace that with the x of the top left, which means what we end up with is the bottom left, because the y is still there. So previous area 0.2 becomes the bottom left instead of bottom right, like it was initially. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that. I think that's probably part of our issue. I think that logic doesn't match. I guess if what Scott's saying is like those are, I'm interpreting what he meant here, then maybe that's part of where this is assuming that it would be pixels, all pixels we produced last frame. So if I'm interpreting that right to mean that it's expecting a list of pixels, like a list of points rather than only 2 points. But in the case of a list, I mean, like, first of all, it's x1 and x2, right? Like, they're specific fields, not like square brackets or anything. But I know how lists work in C, really. So maybe that's how they work, for all I know. And so if they were a list of points, it would just be replacing the second point x with the first point x. Same thing it's doing, but it would just be a list of points instead of a rectangle. It still doesn't get you anywhere because like the resulting point that you got by making that substitution, like there were a list of points, and that resulting point you got might not even be one of your points, I don't think. it could, it might, it depends on your points, but there is a list of points where it would not even be included in the list. And so then previous area would include now a point that's like not one of the ones drawn, even if it was that list of points, which I don't think it is. I don't know how to do that even though. Wouldn't even know how to give it a list. Okay. Okay, what we want to do now is test this with hidden true. The problem that we will have with that, I think, is that I added... Pretty sure this has, like... print. Okay, no, it's committed. Here it is. Okay, this was my proposed solution, which ultimately resides inside group, inside of get refresh areas. So I went even further back. Like, we were inside display, we were inside finish. Binding. Basically, my approach was try to get it so that things that are hidden don't get put into the refresh areas. They don't get put into the what I assume so refresh areas. I assume that is a list of areas, so a list of rectangles which represent the rectangles that we do need to redraw. Which is why the hidden ones should not be in that list, except for the first frame when they first became hidden. They need to be in so that we erase them, and then after that, they shouldn't be in the list. And the way that I had tried to achieve that, so this is calling get refresh areas. Which is pretty much basically calling displayio group get refresh areas. So inside of group, that is where this change occurs here. Get refresh areas. Change I made is right here. I basically added this if statement right here that says if not displayio tile grid get rendered hidden. So there's now a Boolean property that's called rendered hidden. The expected behavior of this property is when you become hidden before you have been rendered. So while you're still on the screen, but after your hidden property gets turned to true, at that point, your rendered hidden will be false. And then once you do get refreshed, once you do actually get removed from the display, in response to your hidden becoming false, like once you actually are no longer on the screen, then your rendered hidden Boolean will be true. So it'll be false before you've been erased. It'll be true after you get erased. And because this code is checking it right here to say only if it is false, do we call tail equals displayio tile grid get refresh areas. So if we have already rendered hidden, then just don't call this. One thing though is like, what about if we aren't hidden? Group refresh areas, so we're looping over the members. So if we aren't hidden, we are not hidden, then rendered hidden should always be false. Always be false. That way, this if statement will always be true, and this will always occur when it is not hidden, is what we want. So if rendered hidden does actually behave that way, then I think it solves the problem of those being included in the list. But what I want to do actually is test it without that. It's a little bit tricky. I guess we're... What if we just turn this off for now? Does this even compile? So the tricky thing is I want to run it without my fix, and I want to observe the prints, and then I actually even want to change it to make my things hidden, because right now we've only been doing visible things so far. But what I'm thinking is that when we do hidden things, if we don't have this fix in place, what will happen is our previous area is going to change every other time that refresh gets called. And that doesn't make any sense, because our thing, not only is it not moving, therefore the refresh area should not be changing, it's also hidden. So, like, truthfully, we shouldn't even care about the refresh area because it's hidden. Past the time when we did render it once as hidden. Uh-oh, did we find a lockup? We actually found a lockup, it looks like. That doesn't make any sense. Didn't change it from last time except for this, which shouldn't matter because we're not using hidden things. Okay, it's like partially random because like literally all I did was click the reset button. Which, to be fair, I don't think I tried before, so maybe those times when it was locked up, I could just hit refresh? No, I did that at least once. I definitely did that at least. And it stayed locked up. This time now it's fine. I don't know. It rendered the second time. Okay, but they're still visible. We're still printing current area x2, which is fine. Let's try hiding our lines and see if these are still the same every time they print or not. So I think they will be, because I think the one that's changing is actually previous area, not current area. Let's go right here. L.hidden is not true, because what we'll do is we will say back up here, L2.hidden equals true. Copy that, put it for all. L. So the thing that's different this time is we do see this every other time. It happens here, and then we get these, and then we get after refresh, but then we get these again. The next time we refresh, we got these again, not this. We did not get this the next time. So it's like every other time we did that. But the points are all the same. The points are mostly what I was looking at. The points are all the same. But those are current area points. My next hypothesis, I'm pretty sure, I think, that the previous area points In particular, x2 of the previous area. Oh no. Oh, did not change. Oh, that is heartbreaking. It's rough. Okay, we're gonna not make these hidden. Go back and do it again so that we can actually trust what we saw last time. Not actually the value we thought it was. Sedoodles. Previous area x2, previous area y2. I'm even gonna put these back, I guess. I go full on back to where we were. I took out the hiddens. Not gonna be hidden. Not gonna have the commenting out of the fix. Which I think the fix only matters when they are hidden. So like realistically, we're going back to non-hidden. To the best of my knowledge, we're not actually using the code that's in the fix. I think like when we are non-hidden, when we are visible, the change that's in the fix doesn't do anything, doesn't matter. Only matters when we are hidden, I think. I can't believe I did that. I even looked at those variables earlier, but I guess not close. Like I was looking more at x2 and y2, trying to be sure that I had x2 and y2 correctly. I believe I did that. Okay, we just got the lockup. No, we didn't. Okay, I just was not patient enough. Oh, we don't have anything visible. It doesn't. Latest version. What's happening? This. I did not save. Okay, so sneak peek, sneak preview. Notice this time we don't have every other time. We don't have this every other time. That's not happening anymore. That's because that's what the fix is fixing. The fix is making it so that we don't call refresh area on hidden things, and our things are still hidden because even though I tried to unhide them, I did not save the file before it ran, so it ran the old version where they were hidden. We're going to rerun it where they are not hidden because that's what I was trying to do, though we did accidentally reveal something relevant to the next step. Okay. So this is fine. Yeah, that's still what we expect. That's fine. You know what the thing is that in our case, current area and previous area are always the same area when it's not hidden. So we actually saw the correct same point. It's not even like the data we saw was wrong. It just technically like wasn't the right variable. It had the same value, but it was not the right variable. We want this on. We want this on. Now we want to go back, take the fix away, make the build. I'm going to be wrapping up here pretty soon too. Try this out and then eat some dinner. Like I've gained a lot of good understanding though tonight, so stuff overall. I did not double click fast enough, so we get to double click again for. I think I have a good understanding now of what previous area and current area are. I would say the biggest gap now is the way that the logic works with checking the x2 and the x1. Like, I don't understand why that would be relevant, but I suspect that part is to do with the fact what Scott's talking about here. Like, if this part was true, maybe that would make more sense, the logic test that it's doing. So we actually made it to the locked up state again. So I'm just going to hit reset button again, and hopefully it comes back the same way. It's doing the thing. Okay, so that was steady. We got the same behavior of like it failed the first time, got into the locked up state, but then we reset once and then it was okay. And we see the same thing still. Totally fine, makes total sense. Because like we're not using this because our thing's not hidden. Now the part where I think it will be different is if we make these hidden, then I think what we're going to start to see is that our previous area is going to be changing. Right now, our previous area x2 is always the same from time to time here. Like the first one here is the same as the first one here, first one, always the same. When we hide these and we don't have this fix, I think our previous area is going to start changing. Previous area x value specifically. So the y's will stay 101, but the x values are going to become something else, something lower, like 0 and 40 and 80. That's actually what it will be, 0 and 40 and 80. Reverse order, 80 and 40 and 0. Yes, maybe. Yep. See here, 80, 40, 0, but then the next time it's back to those values, which is what it should be, and it's every other time. This once, and then it's back to this, and then it's back to this, and then it's back to this. It's each time. It alternates back and forth. Which doesn't make sense why it would want to do that. I don't understand the rationale for why it would want to do that, but it does fit the code. The code here says set previous area x2 equal to previous area x1. This is exactly what we're seeing happen. X1 was the top left, was 80, 40, and 0. We're replacing x2, which is what we're printing. We're replacing that with x1, was those, and it's every other time because these are, this is not true the first time. They are not equal the first time, which means this happens because they are not true, because first draw is not true, and because hidden is true. That's also why this only matters when they're hidden. So when first draw is not true, but hidden is true, that's when x1 is getting set into x2, which is what's making these flip to be these. Next time through, this is true, because now x1 is equal to x2, because last time it just got set that way. So this is now true. First draw is true. You know, hidden is whatever it is. First draw is true, so it doesn't matter what hidden is. First draw is 2, therefore we don't do this. You know, we go to here. First draw is true, so that means we are going to do this. Displayio area copy. Presumably, inside of here, that is going to be updating previous area to be going back to the quote-unquote correct value, these values. Inside of here, that's going to update it to go back to the values that it's like supposed to be, quote-unquote, which means the next time it comes in again, these are no longer equal, and it behaves the same way as the first time. This is false, therefore that's false, therefore we go into here, we now set x1 into x2, those flop back, everything happens again. So each time you call refresh, that previous area gets flopped back and forth like that. As a consequence of that, it spends time trying to render it every other refresh frame while it is hidden. But with this change, it will not do that, I think. Idea. I'm going to run this and then probably head out afterwards. Then I basically need to do some cleanup on this and get the latest version committed to the repo, and then make a post to start asking for feedback on the solution. It kind of sidesteps the previous area versus next area weirdness. like it kind of sidesteps this weird behavior, the solution that I have put in here, because by doing the check back up here on the rendered hidden, it's making it so that we don't go inside of here. So like we are totally skipping the ability to ever have any weirdness in here because we're checking this instead, and if that is not the correct value, then we skip it. So like I have not solved what I believe is kind of technically probably broken behavior. Like I think it's a bug that it is setting previous area X back and forth. Granted, I may not understand what it's trying to do. I clearly don't understand what it's trying to do. Let's put it that way. So maybe my understanding is just wrong. But that's my take on it, is I feel like that's a bug the way it's setting it back and forth. It would be nice probably to fix that bug, truthfully. I think it would be nice to change the logic in here to be something that makes more sense, if it is indeed the case that that doesn't actually make sense. But this actually sidesteps it by building a condition outside of it, which makes it so if our other condition is true, then we don't actually go inside and we don't actually give it the chance to do weird stuff. So this time is with hidden true. It is, no, it's actually still flopping back. It is still flopping back and forth. The thing that it's not doing is this one, though. Interesting. Okay, we'll have to see where we're updating. The other part of this is I'm kind of assuming the behavior of get rendered hidden, but I will need to go and look at where it's actually setting this to true or not. Because it could just be that we're not properly updating this variable. In which case, obviously, our condition here will not help it. I do think we save time during the refresh because these things not printing, I think is meaning we're not spending some of the time that I'll have to probably like go figure out more where these are at though and dig through it some. I was kind of expecting these to not change, but they are still, so we're definitely still going inside that logic somewhere, right? I don't know, that's weird. The true test, though, is not this script. The true test is the original replicator, which had many, many, many more lines. I think I had like 80 lines or 100 lines, something like that. So this one that I am doing has been only 3. I was running with more, like I had 10 here, but I took them out so that it was easier to tell which one was which and what was happening with each one. Because like ultimately I was trying to understand previous area, next area. Each line had one of those, and having 100 lines doesn't help that. So we need to clean this up some. We need to test it on the original reproducer and see if the addition of this is making it go faster. The other thing that goes along with that is I need to look into the behavior of where we are setting rendered hidden to be true or false, because if it's not setting in the right place, then it's a moot point. It won't do any good to check it over here for the log. That's where we're going to leave it for tonight. I'm going to head out and get some dinner. Thank you for hanging out, folks in the chat, DJ Devin and Gordy G, I think, from a little bit earlier. Hope everybody has a good night, and I will see you all later. Thanks.